To keep those heifers or not keep those heifers, keep them, sell them, what are you going to do? And what about beef imports? Let's get into this one. Crew, let's ranch it up. Good day, everyone, and thanks for riding with us on this all-new episode of the Ranch It Up Radio Show. I'm Jeff Tigger Earhart. A big thank you goes out to our partners, RanchChannel.com, Jorgensen Land and Cattle, Transova Genetics, Axiota Animal Health, bringing us Multimin and Lactopro, Stockman's Livestock Exchange, the American Gelbvieh Association, Imogene Ingredients, bringing us Pharmatan, Westway Feed Products, Medora Boot and Western Wear, Allied Genetic Resources and Allied Feeding Partners, LivestockMarket.com, EquineMarket.com, AuctionTime.com, the Tri-State Livestock News, RFD TV Wrangler, and this fine radio station. Cow Country News, you know, the cow stuff. Our top news story in talking about MCOOL, mandatory country of origin labeling, from meetingplace.com, nearly 36 groups associated with beef production, ranching, and the environment signed on a letter sent to U.S. Trade Representative Katherine Tai asking for her support to restore mandatory country of origin labeling for beef. Producer organizations, including RCAF USA, regularly endeavor to keep MCOOL issues part of the national legislative conversation. The World Trade Organization ruled in 2014 that such meat labeling law violates U.S. international trade obligations by discriminating against Canadian cattle and pigs and Mexican cattle. Referencing a letter that Tai had published in the British newspaper Financial Times, in which she said she was committed to, quote, meet working people where they are, redesigning the incentive structure so that communities are not pitted against each other, the letter said. This is precisely the help that ranchers and consumers need and consistent with your comments. She went on to say, we respectfully request that you issue a statement to lawmakers regarding your office's position as to whether the United States has the authority to reinstate mandatory country of origin labeling for beef in the face of the substantive trade reforms you are seeking, including at the World Trade Organization, unquote. Now, we have a copy of that letter and all of the organizations that signed said letter in the show notes at ranchitupshow.com. Now, in other news, drought conditions continue to persist for many areas of the country, especially Oklahoma. The latest drought monitor shows that 78.58% of Oklahoma is abnormally dry or in some stage of the drought. And because of the dry conditions, very little wheat has been planted at this time, or it has been, quote-unquote, dusted in to await hoped-for rain. Prospects for winter wheat grazing are decreasing with each passing week. Wheat planted after mid-September will have less time to grow sufficient forage for winter grazing, assuming moisture is forthcoming. The start of winter grazing will be pushed back, and stocking rates will likely be reduced due to less available forage throughout the winter. And for those of you in Oklahoma, just a reminder, the 45-day cutoff for most fall Oklahoma quality beef network sales is rapidly approaching in late September. Producers, you can find the sales schedule, program, and sign-up information in the show notes at ranchitupshow.com. And your latest from RanchChannel.com on the sales side, Jorgensen Land and Cattle, their mother-lode Angus female sale is going on literally as we speak. All the information, videos, bidding online is available at RanchChannel.com. On the Beefmasters side, ISA Beefmasters annual production sale coming up October 5th. Bull sale information and supplement data is available at RanchChannel.com. Simi and Sim Angus Genetics, Clear Springs Cattle Company, is having their mature cowherd and red female dispersion coming up November 30th at the ranch in Starbuck, Minnesota, selling the mature cows and all bred heifers and open heifer calves. Now, no, they're not getting out of the business. They're just focusing more on the black genetics, so they're liquidating the red females and offering some of those mature proven cows. When we come back after the break, those heifer calves, should we sell them? Should we keep them? And beef imports. Keep it locked to the Ranch It Up Radio Show. RanchChannel.com. I'll give you all just a few seconds to head there on your phone. RanchChannel.com. Go ahead. ranchchannel.com, your farm and ranch network on demand. Bull sales, western events, product information right at your fingertips on the ultimate cowboy-friendly platform. Want to follow up-to-date markets? We got y'all covered, ranchchannel.com. No need to dig for information on all those different websites. It's all right there on ranchchannel.com. Y'all are loving it now, aren't you? Looking for the best way to raise healthy, productive beef? Try Westway Feed Products. Westway's liquid supplements boost forage utilization, efficiency, and sustainability, ensuring faster weight gain and better health. Visit westwayfeed.com or call 800-800-7517. Westway Feed Products, raising the bar in beef production. Attention cattle producers. Boost your herd's trace mineral status with Axiota Animal Health's Multi-Min 90. This injectable solution delivers essential trace minerals known to support cattle health and reproduction. Don't settle for less when it comes to your herd health. Trust Axiota Animal Health to keep your cattle in prime condition. Visit your local supplier or veterinarian to learn more about Multi-Min 90. Multi-Min 90, because healthy cattle mean a healthy bottom line. Have y'all tried livestockmarket.com yet? We have updates each and every week brought to us by auctiontime.com. We're all familiar with that one. Try livestockmarket.com. And don't forget, for all your equine needs, head to equinemarket.com.
Cattle Battle.
Welcome back to the Ranch It Up Radio Show, the most information packed into a 30-minute program that you can find. It's your All Things Ranching newscast, and so glad to be hanging out with y'all. Questions, comments, concerns, criticisms, rants, it doesn't matter. Text or call 707-RANCH-20. That's 707-726-2420. Our email is ranchitupshow@gmail.com. Prowling around social media at Ranch It Up Show. Now, we're all watching the cattle market. Now, whether we have already sold our calves previously or if we're holding out trying to capture maybe more dollars this fall, no matter where you are getting your information, be it here on the Ranch It Up Radio Show, websites like ranchchannel.com or on blogs or market reports, it doesn't matter. We have all talked a lot about heifer retention and the size of the cow herd in the U.S., selling heifers versus keeping them. We have all discussed these topics, and rightfully so. That is the big question. Take cash today and sell females, or hold them as replacements, or market them as bred heifers. A lot going on. Mike Bolinger with Superior Livestock joins us today. Mike and his son, they represent over 40,000 head of feeder cattle marketing annually across many states, along with running several hundred mother cows in northeast Colorado. Mike, it's great to have you on the program with us today. So where are we in this cattle cycle and cow herd retention?
We have not seen a real big heifer retention as of late. Now, the last couple of sales, some of your better genetics have actually went back, but still we haven't seen anything like we have in the past. So as far as I'm concerned, our cattle numbers are still in our favor. There's a lot of dry areas that are contributing to this. And people, like you said, the market's been so good. That is why they are selling their heifer calves. The dryness is keeping them from also keeping back heifers. And also the interest rates, that's another big factor as far as buying back cattle, you know, the prices and everything. But that I've noticed here the last month with our continued dry areas, we're extremely dry here. The cattle I loaded this morning, there's like nothing left at 12,000 acres up there. We're that dry. Oklahoma, where I do a lot of business, there's parts of Oklahoma west of Enid that are really dry. They're going ahead and planting in some wheat and rye pasture now, hoping for rain. But as far as heifer retention, we're not seeing it like we have. You know, I've been doing this 40 years, and it's actually nothing for what these heifers, they're all going to the feed yard, or the majority of them.
So when we're looking at the majority of these females going to the feed yard, the next question is in regards to imports. And there's been a lot of questions, or I think people speculating where, well, number one, because a lot of these females are going to the feed yard, prices are still high. That just basic economics tells us supply and demand. The demand is higher than the supply. Prices are high. Pretty basic right there. There's a free lesson for everybody.
Yes.
Economics 101. Now, a lot of people
Exactly.
have speculated of the imports from the north, from our friends in Canada, and then imports from the south. Do you see that this could potentially be happening this fall? And it almost kind of seems like a perfect storm we're moving into, right? An election year with a lot of controversy going on right now, prices being what they are, and the demand being so high. So could there be the potential of a lot of imports coming into this country, number one? And if so, what could that potentially do to the market?
Well, I think you're exactly right. There could potentially be, they're costing the Mexicans, about like they usually do. I haven't heard of any big increases as far as that, but you're exactly right. If that does happen, it's going to put pressure on our market. But again, I think we're so low on numbers that I don't see it affecting our market much. I think traditionally we're going to see the lull October. A lot of calves come to market, come to town, and I don't see this thing picking up till after, it could be November, December. Hopefully we'll kind of pick this thing back up again. But, I had heifers on this last sale out of Oklahoma, probably some of the best genetics you've ever seen. They deserve to go back to make cows. 945-pound heifers brought $237.50.
Oh, wow.
And they went to a feed yard. Matter of fact, they went to a feed yard that borders my ranch. So they went from Oklahoma to Colorado. That's what we've been seeing a lot of.
So a lot of the heifers, and I'm kind of picking on them right now, but are they going into the grind? Is that kind of what's going on, is that we've got such a demand to fill the grind? And maybe I should back up there. Tell us what the grind is.
Well, you're exactly right. That's what's happening. These feedlots, to make money, they got to keep their pens full, and that's why we're not seeing the big spread in the program cattle versus the commodity cattle, because these guys are keeping their pens full. That's how they make their money, on yardage, feed, etc. So, that's why a lot of these heifers are going right to the feed yard.
When people talk about the grind, tell us what that is.
Basically, the grind is just like steers. They're just going into the feed yard. They're getting put on feed. They're going to slaughter, the whole 9 yards. And that's keeping, with the price that we've been having, historical prices, that's keeping these heifers from going back to the country. I've had several. I traditionally sell a half a dozen or a dozen set of heifers that go back for replacements, and all but 2 of them this year went to the feed yard or into the grind for beef, because the people that would usually traditionally buy them for replacements couldn't spend that much money per head on the heifers to go back into their herd.
And I think where some people maybe get a little bit nervous of looking at, could there be an influx of Canadian cattle coming across the border, or just imports in general? I think it's good to put that into perspective of what really the grind is, and of just filling beef demand. And when you look at it, where demand for beef from a consumer, from a human consumer standpoint, has never been higher. So is it a cause of, in your perspective, Mike, of helping to market and representing a lot of cattle? When we talk about that and putting that together and looking into the future, at this point, is it much of a red flag to you, or is it just still so much is unseen because of the fact that demand is so darn high and we just can't produce enough of it?
You hit the nail on the head. That's exactly right. And, case in point, go to your local steakhouses, Texas Roadhouse, for example, big steakhouses here in Colorado. I have yet to go into one that is not full and people waiting in line. So there's your demand. And yes, if we can't produce it, it's going to get imported. Individuals
that are marketing their females and they're selling them to go into the grind, as we talked, to just market animals. So they're faced, a lot of them, is being able to take cash right now versus, maybe spending some in the future. So what do we do when we're in this situation where we got to come back and we got to buy bred heifers, or we got to buy pairs, or we have to restock? Because that's the reality of the situation, that guys that are running grass is, if you don't find something to fill up that grass, and if you lose it, you're never going to get it back. I mean, that's just kind of how it works, renting ground or whatever the case is. So could some producers, you think, kind of potentially be pigeonholing themselves if they got to take the cash now and then buy back females, say, getting closer to the end of the year, or pairs next spring?
Well, yes and no. I think what's happening, they're looking at what, if they save these heifers, what it's going to cost them before they can get a calf out of them. And again, it falls back to Mother Nature. There's so many dry spots. There's a lot. I'm seeing a lot of cows that's being offered because of dry weather. So they're thinking, well, we're going to wait and see what the weather does, see what Mother Nature does, to see if we even need to buy some more to add to our herd. And if we do, then we'll buy them at that time, is what I'm seeing right now.
We will officially be in fall, just turned over into another calendar year. Another season, I should say. So
Right.
What is kind of that speculation of going into fall? Do you feel that with what's going on, as we talked earlier, of election year and prices of what they are and everything happening, do you think that we probably have kind of hit kind of the top of where we're going to be in this feeder calf market fall, then kind of going into November and December?
Yes, we saw record highs all throughout our summer sales, and we're going into our traditional. The people are pulling their calves off, weaning them, bringing them to sale barn, and 9 out of 10 years, it always drops down like this, and we're going to see that again. And like I said before, I think it'll be mid-November, late November, before we start to see it picking back up again. But just the sheer numbers, I cover a lot of states, and just the sheer numbers I see out there, I feel it could come back, to the levels we saw earlier. Maybe not quite there, but I bet we get awful close to it coming, December, first part of next year. And, again, if it stays dry down south, there'll be a lot of cattle a lot of these calves we sold that come October, November, December, they're bought for wheat and rye pasture in the southern country. So, again, Mother Nature is going to show us which way to go on this deal again.
And really, even though we're talking what we consider higher prices, that's very subjective, really, because that just depends upon a person's operation. I mean, it could be, depending upon what a person has into these calves of input costs, are you even in the black on these? So, that's, I think, a very important part to bring up, is the fact of, even though everybody's talking higher prices and excitement and ringing the bell, however adjectives you want to describe them and slang you want to put on them, it's the fact that, boy, I mean, now more than ever, people really need to figure out what kind of profit, if there is one, to begin with. There
is one, exactly. And we saw a lot of cattle this summer. You couldn't figure a break even in them. So there's a lot of optimism, that was out there. You're exactly right.
Mike Bolinger with Superior Livestock, thank you so much for the time. Already we have had more questions about program cattle and the value of program cattle, and we'll dance with those topics next week, maybe even bring Mike's thoughts in on this one. Like I said, he's in the trenches each and every week. Him and his crew market over 40,000 head every year in several states. There you go, Mike. I just volunteered you to come back again next week. Time for a commercial break. Now, coming up, we talk market recap, some great horses that you can get your hands on through equinemarket.com, and lots more on the Ranch It Up radio show. Keep it locked. For years now, I've been telling you all about Pharmatan from Imogene Ingredients. Well, it's time to make the change and add Pharmatan to your cow's diet, to your calves' diet. Get that boost in health and increase feed efficiency. It all starts with nutrition, so add Pharmatan. At Transova Genetics, it's simple. Their mission is to provide opportunity and advantage through genetic acceleration. Sounds great, but what does it mean? That means using the latest technology to get your cow herd where you want it and where you need it as quickly and efficient as possible. So, from now until September 30th, any donor cow collected via IVF will receive a $100 discount. Genetics you need and money back in your pocket. To schedule an appointment or consultation, head to transova.com. Breeding season is here, and maybe you haven't made all of your decisions yet. Maybe you're fixing to AI some cows or some heifers. Turn to Allied Genetic Resources. Top quality semen from elite bulls. With over 50,000 head marketed annually, turn to Allied Genetic Resources. Want to add just a little bit of spice to your event, your customer appreciation supper, your banquet, your meeting?
Oh, yeah.
Well, bring in us, Beck and I, as your keynote speakers, hosts, MCs, a host couple. We'll make them laugh, even cry tears of joy. Call us today. It's time now to start adding value to those Gelbvieh and Balancer calves. The American Gelbvieh Association offers a wide variety of DNA tests and delivers its members and customers tools for success within the beef industry. You owe it to yourself by going to gelbvieh.org. Welcome back to the Ranch It Up Radio Show. It is that time in the program. We check in with Kirk Donsbach, StoneX Financial Incorporated, and we recap the markets from last week, kind of get a little bearing on what's going on. So, Kirk, what's going on?
Good morning, Tigger, and all your listeners out there. As of Friday, September 13th, September feeder futures were at 241.62.5. That's up 7.25 on the week, with the CME feeder index up $1.14 at 243.32. Combined, that narrowed the basis to a positive $1.69.5 versus September futures. That's a very normalized basis as September goes into expiration. October live cattle closed the week at 177.57.5. That's up 227.5 on the week, with cash trading 181 in the south and 182 in the north. There were many trades that were considered over the tops, which are not reported to the USDA. Anyway, all in all, that left the 5-area weighted average down 43 cents at 180.72, narrowing the basis to a positive $3.14 versus October futures. Weekly slaughter came in at 620,000 head. That's up 78,000 head versus last week, which was a holiday-shortened week, and 11,000 head less than the same week last year. Choice boxes closed the week down 450 at 304.91. December corn closed the week at 413 3/4. That's up 7.5 cents on the week. Corn did make it through the USDA WASDE report with a big reversal off the 396 level in the considered bearish report. By the time it closed Friday, we had broke the downtrend line, and corn definitely has a bullish tilt to it.
Hey all, Mark Banzi with equinemarket.com. Coming up this Wednesday, September 25th, we have our monthly online horse auction. Bidding opens at just $100, no reserves, all horses will sell. Featured lots include Doug, a sorrel quarter horse gelding, 2010 model, 14 hand tie, finished calf roping horse, finished on the heel side. He's great for a seasoned or intermediate rider, great to use in the pasture or everyday trail riding. He's drug calves to the fire, he's super gentle, kind to be around, from Raptor LF Cattle Company in El Dorado Springs, Missouri. Motassa, a registered buckskin broodmare. She's a 2014, green broke to ride. She hasn't been rode in a while. She's been used as a broodmare. She'd make a great project horse or keep her as a breeder, from Azalea Farms in Muskogee, Oklahoma. 7 quarter horses of varying classes and levels of training from 3S Auctioneers in Anita, North Dakota. You got to go check them all out. There's individualized pictures on the website as well as descriptions. On the hay side, we've got 100 small square alfalfa bales selling on 250 bale lots. It's third cutting, fertilized, shed kept, 45 pounds from VMS Auction Service in Upper Sandusky, Ohio. 54 large square alfalfa bales, 3x3x8, weed-free, second cutting, great quality from Kendall County Equipment in Otsego, Illinois. 21 tons of alfalfa. It's large square grass mix, 3x3x8, 775 pounds, second cutting, 17% moisture, sprayed with preservative from Wagner Forages in Kankakee, Illinois. 23 tons of large square alfalfa, 3x4x8, 1,500 pounds, 12% moisture, made with a chrome baler from Keller Farms in Sand Creek, Michigan. 102 large round Bahi coastal bales, selling on 3 34-bale lots. This is 4x5 second cutting poly twine from R&R Farms in Beaumont, Texas. 26 large round brome bales, selling on 3 separate lots. It's 5x6 poly twine, 1,500 pounds, baled this September from Spurville Motors in Stanton, Nebraska. And 38 large round alfalfa grass mixed bales, 4x5 net wrapped 80% alfalfa. It was cut and raked dry. It was made with a New Holland baler from G&P Farms in Monticello, Indiana. Bidding is currently live, but all lots will sell the morning of Wednesday, September 25th at 10 a.m. Central Time. Got a horse to sell? Regular online horse auctions, 4th Wednesday of every month, with hay sales every Wednesday on equinemarket.com and auctiontime.com.
Folks, have you ever sat down to think about the lessons you've learned in the past 12 months, 5 years, 10 years, and all your years of ranching? Hey, I'm Shay Warner, and I am the host of the Casual Cattle Conversations podcast and also a 5th-generation rancher myself. In August, I hit 5 years of podcasting in the beef industry. That means interviewing ranchers, industry experts, and a whole lot of other unique folks. So, in honor of the 5-year mark, I went through and reflected on the 5 biggest lessons that podcasting in the beef industry has taught me. These 5 lessons include: it will take all kinds of kinds. You can learn something from everyone. There is no such thing as an average Joe rancher. Times are supposed to change, and ranchers are the true leaders of the world. So if you're interested in learning my explanation behind these 5 lessons and why I specifically picked these for this podcast episode, head to Casual Cattle Conversations on your favorite podcast app to get the full scoop on these 5 lessons and what I've learned after 5 years of podcasting. Remember, the best way to support your favorite podcasters is to rate and review their show and share with a friend. Happy ranching, folks.
And now that's going to wrap it up for today. A big thanks from our crew to yours, starting out with Mike Bolinger from Superior Livestock, Shay Warner with Casual Cattle Conversations, Kirk Donsbach, StoneX Financial Incorporated, Mark Vanzi with EquineMarket.com and AuctionTime.com, and the boss lady, Rebecca Warner, a.k.a. Beck. And a big thank you goes out to our partners, RanchChannel.com, Jorgensen Land and Cattle, Transova Genetics, Axiota Animal Health, bringing us Multi-Min and Lacta Pro, Stockman's Livestock Exchange, the American Gelbvieh Association, Imogene Ingredients, bringing us Pharmatan, Westway Feed Products, Medora Boot and Western Wear, Allied Genetic Resources and Allied Feeding Partners, LivestockMarket.com, EquineMarket.com, AuctionTime.com, the Tri-State Livestock News, RFD TV, Wrangler, and this fine radio station. And crew, so glad y'all came with us one more time as we ranch it up. Be sure to like and follow us on Facebook at Ranch It Up Show. Our email is ranchitupshow@gmail.com, and you can call and you can text 24/7 707-RANCH-20. That's 707-726-2420. Spread the good word and join us again next week, where it's always Tigger and Beck approved. Stay ranchy and ranch it up.